Jimmy Kimmel off the air? Attacks on free speech? What's really going on here? Welcome to Scrying Out Loud. My name is Trevor. First off, a huge thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel. Thank you for liking, watching, commenting on the videos, sharing the videos, watching the videos all the way to the end. These are the things that really help this channel grow. And thank you, thank you, thank you. This channel's been growing fantastically well. I am offering a tarot reading class on Patreon. Um, the link to that will be in the description of this video. You can just go to my Patreon site too and click under membership options, and you'll see it, the fall 2025 tarot class. If you sign up before the 20th, you'll get $15 off your first month. The class will take about 4 months. After all the classes are done, the price will go dramatically down so that you can keep access to all the content. There's also members videos where I answer your questions. There'll be a live Zoom meeting once a month starting in November where I'll answer questions live. If you have any questions about that tarot class at all, just email me, scryingoutloud3@gmail.com. Happy to answer your questions, happy for reading suggestions. Feel free to email me for private readings. You can email me about everything. All I ask is just don't be rude. That should have not needed to be said, but apparently did. Okay. So there's also the soul community too, where we do daily energy readings. That all you have to do is go to the channel homepage, click join. It's $4.99. Love to have you as part of that. I think it's a great community. We got great people there, great interactions. So, and hopefully that'll just continue to grow. Okay, so Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, what's this about? Is it an attack on free speech? Well, I think that's clear. But who's the one doing the attacking? I think that's not as clear. I think the attacks are coming from two different places. So when I was scrying on this, I think the attacks here for Jimmy Kimmel were both part of ABC and the FCC, which is part of the government. I don't think that ABC had to fire him, I think, or suspend him indefinitely. We'll take a look to see if he comes back, by the way, because I think he does. Um, I think this is because there's probably some merger coming up that they're going to need approval for, and that is why they did it. So, what's going on here? Is this government? Is this greed? And then we'll look at, will there be blowback from advertisers? Will advertisers start pulling money away from ABC and CBS? And then we'll look, will Jimmy Kimmel, will Stephen Colbert, will they be back on the air? And then let's also look, because I think President Obama put this quite eloquently about Charlie Kirk, that, it's fine to find his views despicable. Doesn't mean you shoot somebody. You just find their views despicable. And, how will the future really, look back at this point in time? How will they view conservatives and people like Charlie Kirk? And with the Seven of Swords underneath here, I don't think well. So, but let's see. Is this a combination of government and greed, or is it just government? What's going on here? What's this attack on free speech? I think we'll also ask if there'll be some lawsuits here. We get the full card. This is definitely a new new for us in the United States. This is new. This isn't something we're used to having happen. You know, you pretty much can say whatever you want within reason and not be punished for it, especially if it's a belief. There's a difference between calling for violence and saying that people's words are violent. And I think that subtlety is being distorted. I don't think people are going to buy into this. I think, we get the strength card in the upper right, which is just kind of feels like a gentle nudge, which I'll talk about what I think that means here in a second. It's going to be really hard for ABC to defend this. It's just going to be really hard. Most people don't like Charlie Kirk. The news flash, do a poll. 65%, I think the last time it was polled, found his views to be abhorrent. That doesn't change just because somebody's tragically murdered. Their views didn't suddenly change. People find those views abhorrent. That's just the facts of the case. Um, that doesn't mean we should have violence. It just means we can have vigorous debate and disagreements. You get the magician at the center. There's something bigger going on. There's something cooking behind the scenes here. Uh, and we get lost. I think this is advertisers pulling money, but we'll see about that here in just a second. There's a lot of fighting within ABC right now. Um, so that's good. And ultimately, we get justice. Things get put back into balance here, and we get temperance, moderation. So this is very new for people in the United States. We're not used to this type of actions. There's things going on behind the scenes that we can't see. This is, I think, planning for some merger that needs government approval, and getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel was a way to appease the government, to appear more moderate. Not that they weren't moderate. I mean, it was ABC. Jimmy Kimmel was not exactly bombastic on any level. I think there's a lot of fighting going on at ABC about the way this was done. I think there are things going on. I think he comes back, but we'll take a look at that closer. But really, this was a nod to the government to get some sort of approval of a merger. People aren't buying that Jimmy Kimmel did anything wrong. ABC will never be forgiven for this. They'll never be able to uh, keep up with this story. I don't think that the leadership of ABC will be around for many years. I think they'll be gone rather quickly. In a year or so, something along those lines. I do think money will be lost because of what they did, and I do think we get a restoring of balance. So, was this the felon directly saying fire Jimmy Kimmel? I mean, it's possible that that's what happened. I don't think so, though. I think it was just an understood kind of Godfather wink type thing. So, I mean, indirectly, yes, directly, no. We definitely don't have the full story yet. Um, and it is a big threat to democracy, that's for sure, but it's a step too far. People aren't going to be okay with it. So I think it backfires here. So yeah, I do think that this was not just the government. This was also ABC kowtowing, just like it was CBS kowtowing to get mergers done for them to with Stephen Colbert. None of this is gonna, you know, is there attack on free speech? Of course. But I think it's important that we keep it right sized. I think it's bad. It's certainly bad. But Republicans have always attacked free speech. Always. So I don't, not to this level, but they've all my entire lifetime. I mean, what do you think the book bans are? That's an attack on free speech, right? So we have to fight against these attacks, but they've been ongoing. This is just kind of the climax, and that's what it feels like to me. It's like this is the last straw. Um, this really does feel like a climactic moment. Will there be others? Perhaps. But again, I think if CBS wasn't trying to merge and if ABC wasn't wanting to merge, they wouldn't have done this. It was about money and greed. There's an underlying thing to it besides just the government. I don't think the government came in and said, you need to fire Jimmy Kimmel. I think they kind of said, hey, if you don't, then this merger won't happen, which is just as bad. But ABC could have also just taken, just decided not to push forward with their merger until a Democrat's in charge, but they didn't. So, okay. Uh, will ABC, CBS, and others that partake in this type of attacks on free speech, will they pay a price for it through advertisers? I mean, I think the problem is that they're already in financial problems because very few of us watch live TV anymore. So very few of us actually, you know, watch CBS or ABC. We might watch it the next day on Hulu or Paramount Plus. Uh, and yeah, they're making money through those things, but I think I think the free TV thing is kind of dying out. Deceit, deception, dishonesty. What they're telling their advertisers is not the truth. There will be pushback. The five of wands here, seven of swords and the five of wands, the six of cups, you know, preserving things for the future generation. This is a big moment. It's a big moment. That's a good thing. I mean, not what happened is not a good thing. The fact that this is going to spark some change is a good thing. Uh, I do wonder, when I said there's something going on behind the scenes that I just can't quite figure out, and it feels a lot like 9/11. I wonder if this feels like this is what it was. Like this has been in the works for a while, because this is a huge thing. Uh, we have forward movement and stability in the environment around the Six of Swords and the Queen of Cups. Society, this greed is part of the illness here. And it's not like, you know, everybody working at ABC is making a lot of money, because that's not true. Now, Jimmy Kimmel might have been making a pretty decent salary, but there's certainly people being taken advantage of. They're going to lose advertisers. This is going to end up being a huge loss for them. And the seven of swords, they're going to have to defend this. So they're lying to their advertisers. They're, moving forward in a very defensive way, but it's not going to work. The advertisers see this as an attack and a threat to the future. And in the environment around, there's a lot of fighting, a lot of contracts being ripped up that we don't hear about just yet, and a lot of loss, and eventually a return to stability. So this is not going over well. Uh, it's just not. So I think, you know, that's just the situation here. Um, yeah, so let's take a look to see if Jimmy Kimmel will be back on the air and whether Stephen Colbert will be back on the air. And then we'll take a look to see how this point in time will be remembered by future generations. You want to use a different deck here. So, um, like all the NBC hosts, like Joy Reid and Chuck Todd, and whether you liked them or not, they all now have YouTube shows, right? So, I think Jimmy Kimmel's doing YouTube shows a little bit trickier, but um, he's going to find a place. He will land in a place, and it will be to ABC's detriment. Uh, he's so young that, yeah, Jimmy Kimmel will be back on the air. And it's first of all, will there be a lawsuit? Let's just ask that. I just want one card here. Will there be a lawsuit? Yeah, because it's about money. The Four of Pentacles. It's about money and stability. So I think there will be lots of lawsuits, actually, not just one. Um, Lawsuits from advertisers, lawsuits from um, possibly Jimmy Kimmel himself, lawsuits from his crew. Yeah. Will Jimmy Kimmel be back on the air? Not right away. So we do have the Five of Pentacles, which of course is about loss and feeling quite trapped. I wonder if there wasn't part of the agreement here says that he can't go anywhere else for a while. That's what it feels like to me. The Empress card in the upper right, you get stability with the Queen of, and emotional maturity. I'm sorry, Queen of Cups. Um, Empathy. He's going to be just fine, though. With the star card at the center of the reading, he will be just fine. He's going to find his spot in judgment. Um, I have a feeling he ends up back on ABC. The Hermit card. Right now, he's feeling isolated and alone. But we get wish fulfillment, the Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Pentacles, everything that he wants. So right now there's loss, but there's some protection. It could be of a legal nature too, that gives him everything that he needs. I think he goes back onto ABC. I really do. I think, maybe the merger goes through and they hire him back, something along those lines. Right now he's feeling, isolated, alone, angry. He's got a lot of protection, but he's also got a lot of people wanting him back on the air. Uh, I think there is some problems with him going to another network because of some contract things. Um, People really like him. That's just the way it is. Is he the biggest star ever? No, because we're all so segregated. We all watch so many different things because there's so many options, right? Uh, but what ABC did is going to be judged harshly and possibly by the courts if they don't take him back. But I think they take him back. Whether he wants to go back, that's a different story. Um, I have a feeling there's more to this story than we know. There's a lot of people not paying attention, which is upsetting, but it's true. But he has circles of support around him, and he's got the truth on his side. He didn't say or do anything wrong. So, yeah, I think he ends up back on the air. Let's just throw one card here for Stephen Colbert. Just a yes or no. We can look at that more in depth later, but I always thought that he's going to land back on his feet too. Stephen Colbert continue to have a show in the future. This card. I think so. The Seven of Wands. I think he set himself up in a way that he's just so marketable. He's so like witty. They're both very intelligent comedians. They don't just make jokes, but they're also kind of read the news in a way, right? They're very informative. So I think it's good. Okay, so how will conservatives and Charlie Kirk be remembered? How will conservatives and Charlie Kirk be remembered? We get the Ace of Pentacles, which is about newness. I think they will be remembered as the old way of thinking. Um, I think their kind will be wounded in battle, so to speak, and slowly drift away. Now, this might take several generations to happen, but people aren't going to tolerate the mistreatment of women and minorities. It's not going to happen. That's not where society is heading. They're, they're going away. I'm gonna watch my words here so I don't get canceled, but the death card is here. I think the cycle ends. Um, they 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 disappear. Um, their fiery messages at the Page of Wands just don't match the family values of the future. They just don't. Uh, I mean, would you want your children listening to Charlie Kirk's messages? I wouldn't. I think most people find it very disturbing. And the people that are defending him probably don't even know half of the horrible things he said. Uh, the Six of Pentacles here, giving and receiving of information. I think once people learn more, this comes to a pretty quick end. Um, because this way of thinking is quite sick. It's quite ill. This idea that some people are better than others. This idea that um, the United States is a Christian nation. This idea that, one religion is superior to others. It's not tolerable anymore. It just isn't. People just aren't paying attention. That's the problem. And they'll be in a very defensive position with the Seven of Wands and emotional messages with the Page of Cups. So a new era is coming, one that focuses on families and focuses on empathy. That's just where we're heading. This way of thinking will be thought of as being quite ill. Families won't allow it, and that's how the cycle ends out that or goes away. Uh, you know, the people that are a part of it will not be thought of as well. They'll be thought of terribly by history. Their fiery messages will be repeated so that everybody knows what it is that they were saying. And of course, there'll be some small faction that continues to defend that way of thinking. But think how many people think the earth is flat. I mean, that's just the way it is. So, but it's not going to be a prevalent theory. It's not even a prevalent way of thinking now. It's not a majority opinion. Don't let the news and um, the bombast from the Republicans fool you into thinking that Charlie Kirk was well liked. He was not. He was not well liked. He just wasn't. Um, you know, Guardrails will be put up in place to protect people. Again, more empathy, more masteries of emotions, the Queen of Cups. So everything's going to be okay. It really is. It's a scary moment, but we knew these things were coming, and things are going to start to ease and morph and change, and nothing's a straight line, but things do get better, and especially by the summer of next year, things are a lot better. So hang in there. Thank you for watching. I'll be back with another video soon.